Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da. Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da. Welcome, geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to another all-new edition of Geek to Me Radio. Today, we are joined by actor Trevor Long and his brother, writer-director Owen Long, talking about their new movie, Seeds, which is perfect for the Halloween season. We'll then speak with Heli Kennedy all about the new Orphan Black series from Cereal Box that she's working on. All that and more. Stand by. We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all. And if you are streaming us online here, we thank you for finding us wherever you get your podcasts from, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Podomatic, and we are also on YouTube. We'd love you to go over to YouTube, find us there, Geek to Me Radio, subscribe, and we're trying to boost the numbers there as well. We hope you enjoy what you've heard so far. If you do, send us an email, geektomeradio@gmail.com. Let us know what's working for you, what's not. Your feedback is always encouraged and appreciated. Without further ado, let's get right to our first guests. We're joined now by actor Trevor Long, his brother, writer-director Owen Long, talking about their brand new movie Seeds, out in theater right now. Gentlemen, how are you?
Really good. Not too bad. You?
Doing well. Very excited to talk to you about this movie. I'm a horror buff. I love movies, and this checked off a lot of boxes for me when I saw this movie. It was brilliantly shot, well acted. It's one of those that kind of make you really think about it. I almost felt like the movie was smarter than I was, which kind of hurt a little bit, but I enjoyed that aspect of it. So kudos all around.
Well, thank you. It was smarter than I am, too, so you're not alone.
So I'll direct the first question to Owen. Writing and directing this, where did the genesis of the idea, the seeds, if you will, of the movie Seeds, where did it kind of come about for you?
I don't know if it was any one particular idea or thought. It was more of just the concept of that we all struggle with desires to some form or degree, and how those desires could potentially impact the decisions we make and the choices that we choose, and how it can sometimes find a way to get into our psyche and control our actions, when we know what we're doing is potentially wrong, but we continue to do it anyways. And then I kind of took it to a place where it became more of the film became more of a metaphor for some of these desires that particularly the ones that Marcus is struggling with.
And Trevor, your involvement in the film, did Owen, did you guys work on this and decide, hey, I really want to be a part of this? Did he write this kind of with you in mind all along? How did the process of you getting attached come about?
Yeah, he, before we had anything written down, he had this story in mind with me playing the role, and, I was very excited, and then once we got the script and we got closer, I had my own doubts. And, I didn't know if I could pull it off, and I think even I tried to talk him out of it and thought maybe I should play the other brother. But he always had faith that I could do it and had me in mind, and we just jumped in, and we talked a lot during the process prior to shooting and developing the characters, and so we had a lot of back and forth and collaboration. So that really I think helped with the process.
Yeah, I think that, I had said to Trevor that this is a daunting, role for any actor, to try to, step into, as it was, a daunting story to tell for, a director, and particularly one that, was telling, this kind of story for really my first film. I had my own, concerns and doubts, as we do, I think, with most things that are challenging in life. But
Sure.
I think, it was the two of us together putting faith and confidence in each other that, we could, we could make this happen. And I think it was an experience that is unique in many ways, and in the fact that we were able to collaborate from the conceptual stage, and through the production, and even into post a bit to really kind of help each other understand how things were working, what wasn't working, and where we wanted to go with it.
And question for both of you, since you guys are related, working on this together, do you already have kind of a shorthand going in? Like, Owen, are you able to read Trevor during a scene where you can tell, okay, he's not comfortable? Trevor, are you able to look back at Owen and say, okay, obviously he didn't like that, let's go again? Do you guys already have that shorthand? I guess that would make it easier to work on a project like this together, yeah?
I think so. Yeah, it definitely does. And I mean, we've always been close and had a good relationship, and that was certainly one thing that both of us, wanted to make sure that going down this path, that it wasn't going to be something that would potentially jeopardize that, because it is a very intense, stressful process. But I think we both just said, hey, look, we'll rely on each other and trust each other, and let it unfold as it should.
Yeah, and I think also Owen, my brother, not only knows me as a person really well, but I think, he's my older brother, but I think he also knows me as an actor. He's seen pretty much all my work. So I think that really helped the situation, helped me. And, we just had a lot of trust with each other. So, it was very, very easy to just get past a lot of stuff that might have been a problem if, the actor director didn't know each other, and there's very difficult material. So I think that really was a benefit for the process.
And as I watched the movie, like I said, I was very struck by the cinematography, beautifully shot. Every single scene was just perfectly shot, perfectly lit. So again, kudos on that. I did get aspects as I'm watching this, because in my mind, like I said, as a movie buff, I'm always kind of seeing elements of this and this. I saw little aspects of the classic Hitchcock, like Marnie, a little bit of the Shining in there. When you are writing and directing this, are those things kind of conscious in the back of your mind, Owen, that you're wanting to kind of, I guess, walk a line between paying homage in a certain respect, but also making a very different path? And where do you draw that line?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's, as someone who really enjoys a certain kind of cinema, and is, attracted to filmmakers that kind of blur the lines of how they tell a story. I think that I absolutely, when I was, going through the writing process, there was films that I would go back to and say there are elements in this that I really want to find a way to incorporate in the story that we're telling, and it definitely you draw from the greats, and you have things that you feel as a director you want to portray, and how you want to portray them, and you want to do the best by the story, and not try to make something fit into a place that it doesn't feel right. But it's ultimately the world that you create as a director that is the important aspects of what unfolds on the screen.
And Trevor, with your taking on this role, a very dark, a lot of emotions going on. Psychological horror is always a bit more challenging, I would think, than just your straight slasher or your supernatural type of horror. Where did you go to kind of get into this mindset for this role? And if you could talk a little bit about how you prepared coming in.
That's a good question. I mean, it definitely, in a way felt different than, I've done straight up drama. Each approach is different when you take on a character. But I always start with the script, with the words that are on the page. And this one was unusual because there's not a lot of dialogue.
No.
I knew this, and it was going to be a very visual and internal film. So a lot had to be read in the internal feelings and life of this guy. So that was a big challenge. So I luckily had a lot of time to prepare. I knew the character because we've been talking about it for a while. I had time to really sit with the script, and I had to just really let the imagination from the words and the images that came to me start to surface. And I had to really trust that, which was very hard, but I had to trust that I needed to sort of like the cliche of get out of the way and let this guy emerge. So I allowed enough time and patience to just trust that this guy was going to just emerge rather than me try to create it. So I would just spend a lot of time, in solitude and just really delving into the imagination and the images and the feelings and obviously personalizing it. So yeah, it was, music helped a lot too. I listened to a lot of, classical, this composer Arvo Part that's very dark and it's very seedsy kind of music, and that helped fuel a lot of the emotion and imagery as well.
Well, I remember, Chris McGarry, who plays your brother, you guys have known each other, for many years and have worked together in the past. And when he came on the set, when we were pretty much, in the thick of it, he was like, a little bit, turned to me at one point and said, Trevor's different. He's dark right now. I don't know if I can talk to him. And
yeah, he said,
fun.
Yeah, he said to me that I was creeping him out.
and I think,
which was good.
Yeah, I think it was just, that's a testament to the place that Trevor went as an actor, where he kind of secluded himself, kept in his own world as the character kind of did. And, in real life, he's a pretty easygoing, fun-loving, kind of comical, individual. And, a lot of laughs and joking, but that's not where this character was. And he kind of really, let himself slip into the mindset and the world that he thought the character was in. And, here's someone who knows him very well outside of who he is in real life and has worked with him before as an actor, and was like, dude, you're creeping me out. I don't even know if we can sit down and have a cup of coffee right now.
And that kind of leads into another question I was going to ask. You've got Andrea Chen and Gar Long, who play Trevor's niece and nephew, respectively, working with the younger cast. When you're in this mindset, how much did you get to know them beforehand? Was there some cast work before you got into this to kind of so they weren't off-put much in the way that Chris McGarry was? And we're going to come right back with the answer to the mindset working with younger actors question right after this. Stand by.
Viewer beware, you're in for a scare.
Hi, this is Meatloaf, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
And we're back. This segment and really the whole show brought to you by Historic St. Charles, the website discoverstcharles.com, a fantastic place to visit, and very few times better to do so than in the fall, especially now that their Legends and Lanterns Festival is in its full swing. Its second weekend is going on right now. It goes through the end of October. You should definitely come check it out if you're of the Halloween mindset, or if you just like to have a little fun. This is an all ages event, fun for the whole family, and there'll be different living history characters dressed in costume. You can interact with the angry villagers who are there to stop the monsters, the likes of Vlad Tepes, or the Phantom of the Opera, or Lizzie Borden, or the Wicked Witch of the West from taking over St. Charles. Good time will be had by all. If you're into the Halloween season, and let's face it, who's not? It's a fantastic place to go check out. Scarecrow Glen. They have La Plaza de la Dias de los Muertos, where you can do face painting. You can meet La Catrina. It's really a really cool event. And if you want to get more information, the website's the best way to do that. Go to discoverstcharles.com, and you can click on the events page. It'll show you what there is to see and do. If you're from maybe just a little bit out of town, we encourage you to come stay. There's plenty of places right there along Main Street, just up on the North 3rd Street, other hotels that you can stay at throughout the area. It's a great time. I mean, I can't recommend highly enough how much fun it is, how cool it is to see this place. And if you're in St. Louis and you haven't gone, you need to go. It's right here in your backyard. I was just telling a lady at my day job about it, and she's going to bring her grandson out because her grandson loves Halloween, and this is a great time to go see it. Always something going on in historic St. Charles. That website, once again, discoverstcharles.com. Click on the link, check it out. They'll be glad you did, and we'll be glad you did as well. Right before we went to break, we were talking with Trevor and Owen Long about their new movie Seeds, and we asked them about the mindset that the actor Trevor Long has working with the younger actors.
Well, that's again an interesting question. I'll start with Gar, who is my son. So I know him very well, but he is not someone who has ever acted before. And it was a great leap of faith to, try to have him step into this into this world of acting, and to really have to hold his own with, carrying some scenes, on his own with Andrea, with my brother, and not knowing if he was going to be able to, rise to the occasion. I got to say, I think we got lucky, very lucky on that one, because that can go with any child actor, and particularly something that is a little, there's a lot of ambiguity in it. There's a lot of subtlety in it. And in this particular story, and, it was one of those beautiful, experiences that, could have gone again, and not into the wrong way, and not been as successful as I think it was. Andrea, on the other hand, is not, a well-seasoned actress as Trevor is, has had a bit of experience, and we're really trying to find someone who could step in and play Lily. It was not an easy thing to do. And we had actually had an actress that was, we had worked with and was going to potentially come in from Korea to play the role. But we had run into some difficulties with a working visa and so forth. And it became kind of clear with the timing and stuff that wasn't going to play out. And my DP, who, you had mentioned that, cinematography before, and, was, someone that I had some dialogue with, early on in the process, and just felt like she was just absolutely the right DP for this. And we just she got the story, and just, was a perfect fit as well. And said that she had an actress that she had worked with on a short before, and she thought she might be someone we should consider. And this was pretty late on in the game, but, we ended up meeting with her in New York and working with an acting coach that Trevor has worked with for many years, Lindy Davis. And, it was, the kind of the spending 2 days together, for a couple hours at a part, to, get a sense that we felt confident that she could potentially, step in and do what needed to be done to play Lily. And she did. She open-heartedly took on the role, was excited about it. And I remember when she first read the script, she, said that she reached out to her agent. It was like, oh my gosh, I have to play this role. So she came at it with a very, open, excited place. And that's not easy to find for a role that was I think just as challenging in some ways as the role of Marcus.
Absolutely. And I know that this was a quick turnaround. If I'm not mistaken, it was a fairly quick shoot schedule, which I guess kind of makes you, it's a little bit more pressure. Do you both work well under pressure, or would you like to have had more time for this, given your druthers?
Well, you can always want more time and more money. We did have a little bit more luxury than some micro budget films have. To do this, we, had close to a 28 day shoot, which, allowed us to take the time and the pace to, to get what we need to get done and not just try to get through a shot and move on to the next one and the next one. And again, that was, always a constant struggle each day, but, you make the best of it. And ultimately you, as a director, have challenges, every day, that are in front of you, and you do your best to work with them and adjust and move forward.
And Trevor, we saw you recently in Ozark, which has just been an amazing series on Netflix. To work with that cast and to have the role that you did, again, another dark role, but vastly different from Marcus Milton. How did you find working with that crew? How was your experience on Ozark?
Oh, it was a dream come true. I mean, you, from all levels, you had fantastic writing, you had fantastic directors, you had incredible actors, and just an amazing crew. It was like a family. There were no difficult people that made others miserable. I mean, everybody was just so happy to be there, and the directors really allowed you to bring your creativity to the table and explore and try things and suggest things. It wasn't this is how it's got to go and we got to move. It's a fast-paced thing, but they did allow much more than any experience I've had on TV for the actor to really take their time and go to the places that needed to be done. So it was incredible. I had a great time.
And now that you've been working on Seeds, both you and Owen, the movie's out in theaters right now. What will you guys, I know success is different for every single person. Everyone measures it differently. When this film comes out, how will you guys, are you like, we want the critical aspect, we want to make some bank at the dollars at the box office, or is it just the fact that you've got this really fantastic film that's out there, and this is going to be able to set you up for the next level? How are you gauging the success? Question for both of you. And we're going to stop right there, take another quick break. We'll be back with more with Trevor and Owen Long right after this. Hang out.
Hi, this is Leslie Ann Brunt. I play Mazikeen on Lucifer, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
We are back. We've been talking so far this hour with Trevor and Owen Long. Trevor Long, an actor, you may have seen him in Ozark. Owen Long, his brother, writer, director. They've been working on this feature film called Seeds. Very unique movie. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully you will too. We were talking with Trevor and Owen Long, asking them how they will judge or gauge the success of this movie personally.
I'll let you start, and then I'll go.
Okay. My gauge of success will be if people walk away from me if they see me on the street and be freaked out. No. My dream for this is, money's great if you can get money back to it. I don't have expectations. My dream is that it's getting out there. People will be able to see it. And for me, that people will have a response to it, and it'll make them, like you said, think And on a personal, selfish level, I think I like the idea that it isn't a completely different role and character that I've ever done, and so I think that doesn't hurt my career. That it's something vastly different. So that's exciting too, to see how that hits with people's responses. So yeah, just for people to see it and have it get out there would be amazing. So,
well, for me, the level of success is one plateau is certainly getting to this point where, it's a long, grueling process to make a film. And I kind of always have used this analogy that it's like a triathlon, and, it's not just about the run and the bike and the swim, or each individual things. But you get through one aspect through the, getting the film through the pre-production, getting it to a place where it's going to be made, and then principal photography, and then you've got, the post, and then ultimately to get to this point. But, you have to have the endurance to go the long haul and hope that you get to the finish line, and getting it out there is ultimately the finish line. And so level of what I consider success is that, look, I know that we made a film and I knew that's from the very beginning when it was on the page, and even when I was, shopping it around and trying to find a way to make this happen, is that this is not an easy film to, make and get out there. And there will be people that will love it, and there will be people that hate it. And to me, as I've always kind of viewed myself more of an artist than I have necessarily a filmmaker, this being my first film. But I would always want to, not walk the middle of the road, to make something where people are really, moved negatively or positively. And
we've had both, which it's very interesting. No, it's which I like. I'd rather have strong negative and strong positive than just sort of mediocre down the middle.
Yeah.
And that, especially for a film like this. I mean, it's more of an artistic, outside kind of film. So I think that's really great. I think, those different responses. And I think just to add to that, one thing to me would be another, as Owen was talking, a level of success would be, is if, this film did open up a door for us to be able to make our next project, where people were excited about that, or, where that, ability to step forward into the next level and make our next project.
Yeah, I've always looked at it as a very expensive calling card.
Yeah.
That was actually my next question is, what can we look forward to seeing from the two of you next? Is there another collaborative effort, or what do you have going solo?
Oh, I mean, Trevor will continue to do what he's doing and continue to have, things that come his way. As an actor, it's much easier to have projects presented to you, do them, and move on. As a director, and a producer, it is a much longer involved road. So the next thing, we're working on something as we speak, and I absolutely would, whatever I would do next would have want to do it with Trevor and have a same kind of experience that we had on this last one, and hopefully those opportunities will present themselves.
And you can look for Seeds out in theaters as of now if you're hearing this on the radio. And let everyone know where they can find you out there on social media, the interwebs. Start with Trevor.
So I'm on Instagram. I do go on Instagram. It's Trevor Long at 721. And Facebook, it's just my name, Trevor Long. I'm on Facebook, and I don't remember my Twitter name. I don't go on Twitter much. Or T Diddy, it's something is my Twitter, but I do occasionally, but mostly Instagram.
And Owen?
Not really that much. I tend to the whole social media thing's not really in my DNA. I let the distributors handle that aspect of the film. But on an individual level, I have a very low profile on social media.
You're probably better off, to be honest, but that's all right.
Yeah.
But we'll look forward to getting the word out about Seeds. If you're listening to this right now, go out and see it. If a theater near you is not seeing it, ask them to, or go to a different theater. Owen Long, writer-director, Trevor Long, actor in Seeds. Thank you both for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I love the film.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
My thanks once again to Trevor and Owen Long for their time. It was a fantastic movie. Please go check out Seeds. Just Google the movie Seeds. Find it wherever you can on demand. If it's playing at a theater near you still, do go see it. I think it was a very well done movie, very unique and original, and that's what we need more of from Hollywood. So definitely want to get out there and support independent film. We're going to take another break. We'll come right back talking with writer Heli Kennedy all about the new Orphan Black series, the continuation of the BBC show that you'll be able to get on Serial Box. Stand by.
They're creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and spooky. They're all together ooky, the Addams Family.
Why, hello, this is Scott Innes, better known as the voice of Scooby-Dooby-Doo, like in Shaggy-Doo, in Scrappy-Doo, in like you're listening to Geek to Me Radio. Right, Uncle Scoob? Right, Rappy? Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
And we're back. This segment brought to you by Marcus Theaters. MarcusTheaters.com is the website where you can get your tickets, check out what's playing, get your pick of what movie you want to see, get a little synopsis, maybe see some reviews right there from the website, MarcusTheaters.com, with locations in over 11 different states. Now, Movie Tavern, to help expand their reach. Movie Tavern locations as well, a little further down south. I think they have one, if I'm not mistaken, I have to look at the website again, in Texas. But it's kind of expanding the Marcus Theater brand through Movie Tavern as well. We just had a Jay and Silent Bob meetup to go see the new reboot movie. That review is on the Geeks Worldwide website. You can go to thegww.com to check out my review there. Just look for the Geeks Me Radio page on their website. All my movie reviews are right there. Marcus Theaters is a fantastic place to see movies. Like, all my friends showed up. We had people join this meetup through Legion M, and they were very impressed. We hung out in their Take 5 lounge at the Ronnie's location. Everyone had a drink. A couple of people had dinner. Just a fantastic place. The staff could not have been better. From me getting the tickets to getting everybody checked in to being given second screening to make sure we could fit all of our people in, Marcus Theaters is ridiculously good about all of it. It made the entire process seamless for me. And when I'm trying to organize one of these meetups, it can be somewhat stressful sometimes. They took all that part of it off my hands. I was blown away by their service. And so a huge shout out to Marcus Theaters. Thank you for helping to make the Legion M, Jay and Silent Bob reboot meetup a success. And if you're going to go see a movie, you always want to do it in the best possible surroundings, the best food. You don't want to have stale popcorn or be worried about, the seats the springs are sticking me in the back. You want to go to a nice theater, good surroundings, great video, perfect sound quality. All that goes into the movie experience, and Marcus Theaters delivers that to you. Check out the website, MarcusTheaters.com, to find the location nearest you, get your tickets, and go see a movie. Right before we went to break, we were talking about introducing our brand new guest for the rest of the show, Heli Kennedy. We got the chance to sit down and talk with her about the new continuation of Orphan Black. We're joined now by Heli Kennedy, writer on the new Orphan Black, the next chapter. You can find that on serialbox.com. Heli, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for, I feel like we've been going back and forth trying to get the schedule. I'm glad we finally have you to talk for a bit.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. My schedule has been a little nuts lately.
Nuts in a good way, I hope.
Oh, yeah. A lot of writing. I write day and night. And then with the book series coming out, we've been really focused on it. So I've been consumed.
And I've seen a lot of tweets from BBC and BBC America tweeting about go to the Serial Box link. They're promoting this heavily too, which has got to be nice to have their backing still.
Yeah, exactly. It's really nice that they're still supporting the show, and the OB universe and Clone Club as a whole. So it's been pretty awesome. And it's nice to be in touch with Clone Club again and to have new storylines and new clones to bring to them. So overall, it's nice to revisit everything.
And when I look at this, it kind of reminds me of what Big Finish does with the Doctor Who series. It's these audio dramas that are very, very fun. A lot of people liken them too. It's almost like the old time radio shows where you really kind of get into it. Describe a little bit about transitioning from taking a live series on TV over to an audio presentation.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting, actually. Before doing that, I was writing comic books for Orphan Black. So I transitioned to that, which is a much shorter format. It's visual as well, but plays with a few different writing conventions that you don't get on screen as prominently. So things like internal monologue and subtext that you basically have to say the subtext blatantly. So I did that, and that was kind of interesting. And now moving into this audiobook hybrid with a radio play, it's been really neat because we can really delve into characters' points of view, and we can get really deep into what they're thinking and feeling, as opposed to just giving them plot or action that moves the plot forward. So I've really enjoyed that because the OB universe, Orphan Black universe, is very character heavy and character centric. So there's a lot to play with there when we bring back classic clones or build new clone characters for the series.
And the Orphan Black TV series was so well received. There's a huge following. I can only imagine that it seemed like a natural no-brainer choice to continue it on in some format. How did the conversation come up, and how did you get attached to the project with Serial Box?
Well, I had been writing a comic book series for the show, as I mentioned. So I had been working on print versions of the show for years. And I think now I'm not 100% sure, but I think that Serial Box had approached maybe Temple Street, the production company behind Orphan Black, up here in Toronto. And they were in talks, and I kind of became attached to the project through Temple Street and Carrie Appleyard, a producer who produced the show. So she's been involved too. So we have some of the old crew back on it as well, working to build this new property. And then from there, they hired on Melka Older, who is our showrunner. And she came up with this brilliant concept. And together we ended up workshopping it. And then we brought in a room of writers. And we all went to a writing room in New York, and we hammered out a season arc for a 10-part series. Perfect.
And so is there a long-term plan? Like, do you see this, is it just going to be kind of however long it goes? Like I mentioned, the Big Finish with Doctor Who earlier, that's been going on with all the different doctors. Is there a kind of an outline? Is there a projection, or is this going to run as long as people keep consuming the product?
Hopefully as long as people keep consuming the product. I mean, we'd all love to keep it going, and we've got characters we've set up. We have some ideas of where they're going, and we've outlined little bits and pieces of what could come. Not that I can really talk about anything concretely because the first 2 episodes have been released, so we're pretty early in the season as of this recording. So yeah, I mean, definitely we have a long-term kind of trajectory we'd like to take the story. Should Clone Club want it? You want it, guys? Please speak up on Twitter.
From the outpouring of love I've seen for the show in general, and now for this, I don't think that's going to be a problem at all.
Okay, yeah, I hope so. I hope you're right.
Talk a little bit about having Tatiana Maslany attached. She's narrating. Obviously, she starred in the show. She's brilliant. Talk a little bit, if you could, about her, I guess, continued influence on the series as it's gone on.
Yeah, so it's really cool to have Tatiana attached and performing. First of all, when she signed on, we were like, okay, instantly we know she's going to bring so much more to these characters, and we're trying to build really strong, unique women for her to play. And when you have a collaborator like Pat, you know that she's going to bring nuance and different color to the characters you would never have thought of. So that was pretty exciting. And it was also kind of was fun to think of, who she could become next. Our main character, one of our main characters, is a new clone, and she's Cuban American. And she's got a very interesting job. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't listened to the series yet, but she's kind of she's a little bit covert in what she does, and she works internationally. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to blow it for anybody.
Okay.
But yeah, like basically when we're writing, and Tat's going to read it, I try to give her stuff to play with. I think all the writers took that into consideration. And we also personally, I wanted to give her a few challenges. So I might have thrown her a couple new accents we've never heard before, just to see, just to give her a little bit of a challenge. But yeah, it was really great knowing she'd come back on to collaborate, because she is so much of the heart and soul of Orphan Black. She made all those characters come to life. So it was encouraging when we knew she was going to come on and read our new characters as well.
And it's very exciting whenever a beloved series like this continues on in any kind of format. We saw it when Dark Horse started doing the Buffy comics after the end of the TV series. I again mentioned Big Finish and everything like that. So if you had your choice, like if there's another series out there that's been canceled and they said, Heli, we want you to give us a new take on this, either in audio form or comic book form, are there a couple that you'd like to do that are like on your wish list? And we're going to wrap things up talking for the rest of the time here with Heli Kennedy right after this break. Stand by.
Hey, this is Mark Guggenheim, and you are listening to Geek to Me Radio.
And we're back, wrapping things up. That voice you heard bringing us back from break, Mark Guggenheim, showrunner on Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, writer for a lot of those CW shows, and we used that little voice return to tease that we were going to bring Mark on the show. We're going to have a nice long conversation for the whole show next week with Mark Guggenheim, talking all about the upcoming Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover that's got everyone buzzing. They're bringing everyone back from any DC property ever. Kevin Conroy is going to be back in live action. We've got Burt Ward from the 66 Batman series. They're bringing in all sorts of people. I got a confirmation on a couple that we did know about, and confirmation that there aren't going to be some people who I was hoping to see. We'll have that entire interview for you next week, so make sure you click the subscribe button on iTunes, SoundCloud, Podomatic, wherever you're hearing this right now. Please click that subscribe button. And if you wouldn't mind, if you would do us the service of please leaving us a nice 5-star glowing review, that always helps maximize our view in the search engines as well. We would greatly appreciate your help there. Before we went to break, we were talking with Heli Kennedy, and we were discussing if she was to be able to go back and do a series that has ended, TV series, and bring it back into a radio form or another continued experience, what series she might go with.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. That's like, no one's ever asked me that before. Series that are done that I'd really like to come back. I don't know how you could top Breaking Bad, but that would be an interesting series to continue. Though, I mean, talk about, masterclass in doing a TV series with a massive character arc.
Yeah.
That would be really cool to see. I don't know if I'm like, oh my God, am I worthy for that? Don't know if I'd be worthy to write it. But that would be super cool to see Breaking Bad if you could create that character journey again. I don't know why, but The Wire popped into my mind.
Oh yeah.
You know, like that, it's been a little while since that aired, but that was a show that was really interesting and approached that genre of TV differently at the time. And for me, the characters are so unique that I think what I find interesting about the audiobook sort of radio play format is really taking a narrow field of view and diving into a character journey rather than bouncing around between so many storylines.
Sure.
Or if you do that, you're really focused on character. And I think the characters in that show, they just kept you intrigued and interested. So I think that might do well. And yeah, I think those are the two that come to mind. I'm sure there's a ton of sort of like many things. Growing up, I really liked, I listened to The Hobbit. I think it was the BBC Radio that did it. I don't want to misspeak, but I really like The Hobbit. So maybe an updated version of that or a new take on that. I'm a Tolkien fan, so I'm a fantasy nerd. I like that. It'd be cool to see Name of the Wind, too, by Patrick Rothfuss done in an audio form, or maybe like derivative material from that acted out.
And I think it's fascinating that we've got all this advanced technology, and in essence, we're kind of finding our roots again, going back to radio plays, which were big things. You know, the soap operas of the 30s and 40s were all on the radio. And I think it's kind of interesting how people are gravitating more towards these audio dramas, audio books, radio plays like Orphan Black, The Next Chapter, like Big Finish Productions. It's very interesting that we're kind of going back to that, which as a radio guy, I love particularly, but I'm sure it's got to be great for you to be able to then work on projects like this.
Oh yeah, I love this format. I did grow up listening to The Shadow. I mean, like I wasn't a kid in the 1930s, but my friend and I would copy cassette tapes and then listen to them and send them back and forth to one another of episodes of The Shadow, which was a mystery that was like a one-off episodic sort of series, which predates episodic television and kind of like probably the bedrock for what became episodic television, if I have to guess.
Yeah, probably so.
And I really, really like this format because I think it is the campfire, right? You know, storytelling is about sitting around the campfire and luring someone in. And sure, we've got the ability to do crazy special effects now and, you know, really beautiful cinematography and visuals, which I love. And I'm still a screenwriter and would love to still be writing for the screen. But there's something to be said for, you know, a story that can be encapsulated in an hour that lures you in with someone's voice and someone connecting to you almost on that one-on-one level. It's like having the storyteller back at the campfire with you. It's sort of primal. I think, I feel like that form will never die, that form of storytelling.
Let's certainly hope not. And I think Orphan Black, The Next Chapter is a good way to keep that going for sure. It can be found on serialbox.com. Again, that's serial, SERIAL box.com. And Heli, where can people find you if they want to get into you more? Are you on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah, I'm on Twittergram. Yeah, that's like a thing almost. I feel like it's almost the same thing.
It may as well be, right.
Yeah, Instagram and Twitter at Heli Kennedy, HeliKennedy. So yeah, reach out. I love to chat with people. Send me some messages.
Perfect. Heli Kennedy, thanks so much for your time today. Once again, Orphan Black, The Next Chapter, serialbox.com. We look forward to your continued success with this.
Thank you so much. Thanks for chatting.
Anytime. And that's going to do it. My thanks once again to my guests, Trevor and Owen Long, talking about their movie Seeds. Very good, solid original movie. You want to see that when you get the chance. And of course, Heli Kennedy talking all about the new Orphan Black series. And you can find that on Serial Box. And make sure you check her out. Follow her on Twitter. She gave her handles out there. Thank you to everyone involved. Thank you to all of you who are listening. And until next week, my friends.
It's not in the way you watch a zombie. It's not in the way you watch The Flash. It's not in the way you love Scotty Young art. It's not in the way you play Mario Kart. It's not in the way you look when you make Game of Thrones references. That's a show. This is Geek to Me Radio. That's a show. This is Geek to Me Radio.
Thank you, New England. Good night.